Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It is 9 o'clock on a Thursday and it's time for Magic Stuff. And today I'm going to do something slightly different. I'm going to talk about Ryland, my son Ryland, 9-year-old Ryland Petty. And the reason is, very, very simply, Ryland is as big a part of Magic TV as I am. If you go back to the very first Magic TV episode, it was a review show. And it was me and Ryland sitting in my office at home in the middle of lockdown, just reviewing a trick. And we did one trick and we were like, hey, we might do this again in the future. Fast forward almost 2 years, he's really grown as a performer, as a magician. And one thing that I see over and over again when it comes to comments on the channel is I see people saying, you know, it's been really interesting watching Ryland grow as a performer. And I completely agree. Over the last 2 years, you know, he's grown so much as a performer and as a magician. He's got a huge, massive range of magic that he does now. Obviously, he's got his own brand, really, when you think about it, in many ways. Even though he's only 9, he's got more Instagram followers than I've got subscribers on YouTube. You know, he's been on Britain's Got Talent. He's, you know, constantly performing here, there, and everywhere. He's got gigs all of the time, as well as everything else he does. He's, you know, he's on. He plays football. He's the goalkeeper in the school team. He's you know, skateboarder, drummer. There's a whole bunch of different stuff that he does, but magic is really the main thing. And, you know, I've had people say that they want to see more videos about Ryland because they find it interesting kind of listening to Ryland's perspective. Just like the mat tests are really popular. Anytime that Ryland kind of gives his opinion on stuff, people find that very refreshing as well. So it's not just me talking. And the important thing for me is any video that I put on Magic TV either has to educate, inspire, entertain, or motivate. And you know, I'm not. A lot of people have said to me, "Hey, can you do another video on Ryland? Can we hear more from Ryland?" And I am planning on doing more down the line. But I thought what I'd do is I'd do a video today all about Ryland's close-up act and what I've learned from watching Ryland in the last few months since he put it together. Now, to give you a bit of frame of reference, Ryland's always been more of a stage performer than a close-up performer. And although he does a lot of close-up magic, and he probably does more close-up gigs than stage gigs, he's always thought of himself more of a stage performer. And he decided a few months ago that he was going to try and really focus on kind of doing more close-up magic. And specifically, he wanted to try and put himself together a close-up act that ran for about 20 minutes, anything from 10 to 20 minutes, because his goal is to start competing in close-up competitions, and not to win, but just to kind of, he enjoys performing. I mean, that's Ryland's big thing, really, to be honest. He enjoys performing. And so a few months ago, he started putting himself together a close-up act. And then last night, I'm filming this on the Wednesday, last night on the Tuesday, Ryland was invited to the British Magical Society, which is the oldest magical society in the UK. And he was invited as a guest judge. That in itself was a funny situation, because I had a message saying, hey, would you be interested, hey, we're trying to get hold of Ryland, would he be interested in being a judge? Not me, Ryland. And so I asked him, and he was like, yeah. And the BMS said, hey, if he'd like to come and do a spot after all the competitors have performed, we'd love him to do a spot. And I asked Ryland, and he said, yeah, I'll do like a 10-minute set of some of the close-up stuff that I've been working on. And when I say close-up, he does a ton of close-up, you know, stuff that you do in a restaurant or walk around or mix and mingle. What I'm talking about is like a formal close-up set, like the sort of thing that you do in a parlor show, for example. So he went and to the BMS, and he was a judge, and he judged the competition. And congratulations to all the competitors, by the way, especially Warren Treadaway, who won. His act was amazing. His Akito coin box work was unbelievable. Really, really good. Really good. But you know, he judged the competition, and then he did a 10-minute spot at the end. And I'm going to play that footage for you, so you can see the act that he did, the whole thing. And he got a standing ovation at the end of it, which was really, really nice. But then after that, I'm going to talk to you about what I've learned from watching Ryland over the last sort of 6 months. Because this kid constantly inspires me. Whenever I feel deflated, I just look to him, and he just constantly inspires me. And there's things that I've learned, and there's things that I've done from watching Ryland, and I've learned a lot from watching him. And I think that that's important as magicians. I think that we We should always look to learn constantly, and we should always look to improve. It doesn't matter whether it's a 90-year-old magician or a 9-year-old magician. We can always learn from everybody. So, for all of those people that wanted to see more of Ryland, this is the act that he did at the BMS. It's only a short 10-minute act, but I'm going to show it for you. And then after that, I'm going to talk to you about what I've learned from watching Ryland put that act together.
Okay. Tonight, I want to show you something using two of the things that I love the most. Toys that are puzzle, that also activate our imaginations. Nick, can you please take this cube and start to mix this? I'll explain what's about to happen. Now, magic is all about creating random moments in time that make us go, wow. So tonight, I'd like to hopefully create a few of those moments, starting with that cube that you have been mixing. Nick, you've got the cube that's been completely mixed. There are multi-millions of combinations as possible, and no one can ever predict exactly how that cube would end up being mixed. Do you want to mix it one more time, or is that it?
Once more?
Once more, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, do you want to mix it more, or is that it? That's it. Okay. Now, what I didn't tell you is that these cubes actually, well, they match. Look. Sign number 1, matches. Sign number 2, matches. Sign number 2, matches. Sign number 3, matches. Sign number 4, matches. Sign number 5, matches. And you're not going to believe this, but sign number 6, matches as well. Now, if you saw me on BGT, you probably have saw me throw up a cube and it solved. Would you like to see that now?
Yeah.
Nick, would you like to see that now?
Yes, please, yeah.
Okay, you mixed this cube up yourself, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
Okay, I'll count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Now, Nick, I'm going to break every single one in magic, just using this red bag. So the first rule in magic, you should never tell the audience what you're going to do. I'm going to tell you that I'm going to make an egg appear inside this bag. Now, if I told you that I'm going to make an egg appear inside this bag, you might not believe me. Even if I squeeze it, and I hit it like this, you might not believe that there's no egg. Even if I turn it inside out, like this. So Nick, what you can do is you can actually turn the bag inside out yourself.
Pretty good, mate?
Yeah, yeah. Just like that. And you can also feel for an egg. No egg?
Definitely empty, yeah.
Definitely empty. Okay. And you can also look inside. You see there's no egg?
Definitely empty.
No egg, yeah. So I'm going to take this invisible bird and I'm going to throw it up in the air. I'm going to catch it inside the bag. I'm going to shake off the invisible dust. I snap my fingers, I show my hand empty. I put my hand inside the bag and the hand comes out with an egg. The second rule in magic is you should never repeat a trick. I'm going to do this trick again. So the first thing I have to do is I have to make the egg disappear to do this trick again. So you can see that the egg is inside the bag.
Yeah.
You can see it, and you can also feel that the egg is inside the bag.
Yeah,
You can feel it? Yeah, so I'm going to take the egg like this, and throw it up. And it's important, you can't see it unless you use your imagination. So you got to pretend you got to use your imagination, and you can see that the egg is actually up in space.
Okay.
So then it looks like we're looking up onto the ceiling, but for us, it looks like we're looking up at an egg in space. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I can squeeze the bag while we're waiting. I can also hit the bag. And I can even turn the bag inside out. You can turn the inside to the outside and the outside to the inside. Again. No egg?
No, nothing in there.
No egg. Again, you can look inside. No egg.
No.
No. Okay, so the egg is coming back down. I catch it inside the bag. Show the bag like this. Show my hand empty. Put the hand inside the bag, and the hand comes out with an egg. Now the final rule in magic is you should never let the audience do the trick themselves. So I'm going to let you do your trick, this trick yourself. You're we're going to do, yeah.
Okay.
So first I'm going to make the egg disappear. Okay, you can see the egg?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to do the first part, you're just going to make it disappear, okay? So you need to watch it when it goes up this way. So you can feel it?
Yeah.
You take it, you've got to watch it now, okay? You've got to watch it, yeah? Now I'm going to turn the bag inside out. You can turn the inside to the outside and the outside to the inside. Just that. Okay. Now, you can't see anything.
No, it's empty.
No, you're going to grab your left finger like this. You're going to put it on the rim of the bag, just like that. And then you're going to grab your right finger and do it on there. Okay. Now, you stretch your arms out and show it to the audience. You're going to let go with your right hand, but pinch it with your left, just like that. And you see the egg coming down. You got to catch it inside the bag. Okay, you shake the bag. Faster. 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 Okay, stop. You show your hand empty. You put the hand inside the bag, and if that hand comes out with an egg, the audience will go crazy. Not for me, but for you. Is there an egg? Yes. Okay, now I'm going to show you this trick that I got from the Magic Circle. It involves 3 cups and 3 balls. 3 cups and 3 balls. We've got 1 empty cup, a second empty cup, and a third empty cup. 3 empty cups and 3 balls. We take the balls and put them in the cup, like that. We take the first ball. It's gone. I take the second ball. It's gone. And finally, I take the third ball. It's gone. And that is all 3 balls. But the thing is, they've got to go somewhere. And that place is, they go underneath the cup, like that. Maybe you thought I was cheating. Maybe you thought I was using my hand. So what I'll do is I'll actually put the balls underneath the cups. So I'll do this, and now the balls are underneath the cups. I snap my finger. They are all underneath that cup right there, and they are not there. Back to make solid go through solid. I take the first cup, I put it on top of the ball which is on the cup. It goes through like that. It goes through. So that's the first one go through. Okay, the second one go through. I snap my fingers. You can see that it's already gone through like that. So finally we have the last one on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3, like that. And now all 3 balls are underneath. Okay, so I take the first ball, I'm going to put it in my pocket. I take the second ball, I'm going to put it in my pocket. And finally, I take the last ball, and I'm going to put it in my pocket. I snap my fingers. That is the first ball. I'll put that back in my pocket. I snap my fingers. That is the second ball. I'll put that back in my pocket. And finally, I snap my fingers one more time. And that is actually the final ball. Right. But every trick needs a big finish. And I'm going to show you my big finish. That is the first big ball. But again, that might not be a big finish. I started with the cubes, and I also like to end with the cubes.
So I have a couple of notes, here we go, and a couple of notes about what I've learned and the things that sometimes I forget that I get reminded of every time I watch Ryland perform. And hopefully you enjoyed that performance. As his dad in the audience, I was absolutely blown away. But we're going to talk about what I've learned from him now. And the first thing, I've got a list here, and the first thing I've learned is to put yourself out there and go out there and actually perform. One thing that I see from Ryland is he's not afraid to put himself into a position that's maybe a little bit stressful. You know, as adults, we get nervous, we get stressed, and Ryland gets nervous. I've seen him nervous before he goes on any show. Before he walked on the Magic Circle stage, he was so nervous. I've seen him be nervous over and over again, but it doesn't stop himself from putting himself out there. And I think that's really important. Put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. If there's an opportunity to perform, do it. It might be a close-up competition. It might be a session. It might be going to somewhere like Blackpool and seeing a table full of magicians, and there might be a big-name magician there. Go over there and introduce yourself and start sessioning with them. What's the worst that can happen? Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. That's all Ryland does. If he sees somebody at a convention and he wants to meet them, he just walks over to them and say, "Hi, I'm Ryland. Can I show you a trick?" And I think it's kind of that refreshing approach to putting yourself out there that I think that more magicians should do. The amount of magicians that I speak to and they go, "Oh, I went to a convention and I saw so-and-so, but I didn't go up to him, I was too nervous." And I've done that myself. I remember spending hours like trying to go up to Pat Page and just like walking over to him and then not, like, right back in the day. So I understand. But, you know, watching Ryland, it's kind of like, what's the worst that can happen? Put that fear out your head. Go out there and put yourself out there. The second thing that I've learned from Ryland is love what you do. One thing that always comes back to me over and over again, anybody who watches him perform, they always say the same thing. He loves what he does. He loves to perform on stage. And it's true. If you've ever seen Ryland at a convention, if you go over to him and he's not performing and you introduce yourself, he's going to be kind of shy. I mean, he'll have a conversation with you, but he's going to be kind of shy. He is very naturally shy. But when he walks out on stage or when he walks behind a dealer stand at somewhere like a convention and he's working on the Alakazam stand, a light just flicks in his head and he instantly comes alive, and that's because he loves performing. And I think the important thing to understand here is you have to love performing as well and learn to love performing. Those people that are scared, that are nervous, that are scared to go out and perform, that's never performed before, understand this is a performance art. What's the worst that can happen? You will love it. It becomes like a drug, and it is for Ryland. It's kind of like a drug. In that you want to do it more and more and more and more and more. And that's one of the things that drives him on, the love of performing. So, you know, go out there and perform. It kind of goes hand in hand with putting yourself out there, but go out there and perform and love to learn performing, because at the end of the day, magic is a performance art. Okay, so the third point is to look to the classics. Now, if you look at that performance that you just saw a few minutes ago, there's three routines in essence that he did. He did a quick Rubik's Cube thing, then he did the egg bag, and then he did the cups and balls. Well, the egg bag and the cups and balls are two of the oldest tricks in magic. They're so old, they're almost new. You don't see, outside of street performers, you don't really see many people doing the cups and balls anymore. And you know, the egg bag is a classic, but outside of Jeff Hobson and Scott Alexander, you don't see many people performing it. But I mean, it's such a wonderful prop and it's so magical, it really is. So I think the thing that you can learn from here is don't be afraid to look to the classics. You know, I see a lot of new people coming into magic, both adults and kids, and they have no idea of the classic routines. They have no idea of any of that. They just focus on either card magic or the newest gimmick that, like, you know, is whatever it is. And normally card magic, you see so many new people coming into magic and just being obsessed with cards, right? Well, you just saw Ryland perform. He didn't do a single card trick in his sets. And if you went and watched his stage show, he doesn't do a single card trick in his set. Doesn't mean he can't do cards. He can, but he chooses to go in different directions. And I think it's really important. I've talked on this channel before about the importance of learning other types of magic. It'll make you a better, more well-rounded magician. And this is a perfect example, right? You know, don't be afraid to look at the classics. Don't be afraid to learn routines and props that you might not necessarily do, because as a coin magician, I've improved my card magic as a coin magician, because I've brought aspects of coin magic into working with cards that I never would have done if I wasn't a coin magician. So I think look to the classics. Don't just be that card guy. Instead of just being that card guy, look at all the different types of magic that there is around us and learn all of it. Okay, the next point that I want to kind of bring up is don't be a move monkey just for the sake of being a move monkey. And what I mean by that is I see so many people that get into magic, and a lot of the time it's newer performers. And I'll meet them at conventions, or I'll meet them somewhere and I'll go, hey, show me a trick. And they don't do a trick. What they do is they do like an invisible pass, and they do it flawlessly. And then they might do like a multi-cutty thing with a big production of 4 aces, but they're not performing. They're just standing there looking down at their hands and doing moves. I'll tell you right now, you won't see Ryland doing that sort of stuff. He's never learned really a flashy cut. He's never learned any of that flashy stuff. But he learns moves, but only when they're practical. I mean, you look at the cups and balls. I mean, that's a slight heavy routine, right? You look at the stuff that any of the stuff that he does, it will involve sleight of hand, but he only learns moves when they serve a purpose. He doesn't learn moves just for the sake of learning a move. It's got to serve a purpose, and really that's down to personal opinion, but I think that's really important, because when you start getting obsessed with learning moves and flashy cuts, you focus less on the performance and you focus more on doing all of this crazy juggling. And there's nothing wrong with crazy juggling. It looks very impressive, but if you want to be a magician, you are a performer, and the most important thing is to perform. And if you are at a convention and your idea of showing somebody a trick is just not looking at the person, looking down at their hands and just doing a series of moves, maybe you need to focus less on the move monkey stuff and you need to focus more on the performance, which brings me back into the next point. So the next point is learn stage magic as well as close-up magic. Like, one thing that really impressed me, and by the way, that performance that I posted earlier on that I included in this video, he'd never done that cups and balls routine before. That was the first time he'd done it. He'd been practicing it for a while, but that's the first time he'd done it like that. And one of the things that really impressed me when I was watching him perform is how he, you know, there were about 30 or 40 magicians in that room, magicians and lay people, and it was how he carried himself on stage, how he projected his voice, how he commanded the audience. You know, if you watch him and you study his actions, and I've watched that video a few times now, you see him looking out at the audience, you see him involving the spectator, you see him doing all of this, and that's because of how much time he spent performing on stage. And I think if there's one thing that's really important to understand, it's that having the ability to perform on stage and learning stage magic and putting yourself out there and working on stage will make you a better close-up performer. I've seen close-up magicians that have never worked on stage in their life, and they walk up to a group of people, like maybe a big table, and they'll perform to 2 or 3 people. And then I see magicians that have worked on stage and they perform to the whole group. And the difference is when you perform on stage, you understand how to project yourself. You understand how to involve a whole group in your performance, and that will ultimately make you a better close-up magician. And I think that's a really important aspect. So if you're a close-up magician, or you're getting into magic and you've only learned close-up magic up until this point, if you learn stage magic, and if you go and put yourself out there as a stage magician, whether that be doing open mic nights or putting yourself out there at a magic convention or something, it will ultimately make you a better close-up magician. Okay, so the next thing is don't be afraid of gimmicks. You know, I see a lot of people that go, oh, don't use electronics, electronics scare me, or whatever, or so on and so forth. Well, you know, Ryland was using a whole bunch of gimmicks there. That, you know, the cube routine was heavily gimmicked. Obviously, there's gimmicks involved in the egg bag, because the egg bag is gimmicked. And even the cups and balls, it might have just been a regular cups and balls set, but he was using a smoke pad to make the smoke appear at the end, right? And using gimmicks and combining them with sleight of hand is, for me, the best way to do a close-up performance. I've got no problem with people that just go out and do pure sleight of hand. I've got no problem with people that go out and just do pure gimmick-type magic. But if you combine the two, and you combine gimmicks with sleight of hand, I think that's when you get a more rounded performance. You know, you take the best of the gimmicks and the best of the sleight of hand. And in my opinion, a gimmick is best when, you know, they don't even suspect that a gimmick's in play. And if you're doing sleight of hand and you're combining it with gimmicks, they probably won't even think a gimmick's in play. But I mean, ultimately, the most important point I'm making here is don't be afraid to use gimmicks in your act. If you think it elevates your act, if you think it elevates your performance and it makes it a stronger performance, go for it. Okay, so the next point that I wanted to make is stay humble and get feedback. So what I mean by that is after that performance that night, Ryland was going around to a lot of people asking their opinion. And the reason he was doing that is because he's always trying to improve. Now, to be clear, this is a kid who this weekend is going to be, you know, performing in his own ticketed show at the House of Secrets. He's got his own residency that he's doing tomorrow. He's been on Britain's Got Talent. You know, he did really well on Britain's Got Talent. Yeah, he's only 9, but he's achieved more at the age of 9 than I have really at the age of 46. But he always wants to get feedback. Every time he does a performance, the first thing he'll do is he'll come to me and he'll ask me what I thought. And he genuinely wants feedback. He's not looking for somebody to gush over him and say how amazing it is. He wants feedback every single time he goes and performs. And I think that's really important. I think sometimes as magicians, we have an ego. I know I've got an ego. I think you have to have an ego in order to become a performer. But, you know, because of that ego, sometimes we don't look for feedback. And we just look at our performance and go, that's brilliant. But there might be something that you've missed that somebody else could point it out to you, and it could make the world of difference in your act. So it doesn't matter how good you've done. It doesn't matter how good your performance is or how happy you were for it. Go out and seek out feedback, because you can always improve. You can always get better. You're always learning. Okay, so the next point is to challenge yourself. The next point is to challenge yourself every single day. Look, let's be honest. Ryland knows a ton of close-up magic. He could have gone out there and done some card material, a coins across. He could have done anything like that. Absolutely fine. All of the stuff that he put in that act is relatively new, and he wanted to challenge himself. He wanted to put a cups and balls routine together, and you know what? He's improved. He's trying to work on making that cups and balls routine even better. Is trying to. He's looking at the act. Obviously, it did come full circle because he started with the cube and finished with the cube, but he's working on ways of making it even more full circle, so the cube thing is integrated throughout the act. And I think that's important. Challenge yourself and don't rest on your laurels, and always make sure that you're constantly improving. Always make sure that you're constantly putting yourself out your comfort zone, because that's the only way that we can grow as performers and magicians and anybody, is if we're putting ourselves out the comfort zone. If we're constantly living within our comfort zone, then we're never able to strive for anything new or better, because we're just comfortable, right? You put yourself out your comfort zone and you're always kind of trying to push yourself to the next level. And the final point, the very final point, is to have fun. Anybody who's seen Ryland perform, anyone who's seen Ryland at a magic convention will know how much fun he has when he's doing this stuff. Remember, ultimately, at the end of the day, magic is a hobby. Yes, if you're a professional or a semi-professional, you might make money from it. Absolutely. And it might be, you know, more than that. But ultimately, at the end of the day, have fun. You know, that's what magic's all about. It's a hobby. I love performing. I love having fun. Magic is fun. I love hanging out with Ryland and just showing each other tricks. It's one of my favourite things in the whole world. And if I wasn't a professional magician, if I didn't run an entertainment company for magicians, I would still be an amateur magician, a hobbyist, and I would still be going out there and having fun. And I think that's really important. Have fun. So there you go, guys. Bit of a different video this week, but do me a favour and let me know what you think in the comments down below. Did you like Ryland's performance? Let me know. Do you agree? Would you like to see more videos like this? I mean, if you want to, I can take Ryland's stage act and I can dissect that as well. You know, I get people asking all of the time for more videos on Ryland, because he is such a big part of Magic TV. And yeah, if you want to... you know, if you want to see more of Ryland, please let me know. I want to put the videos out that you guys are interested in. And if you're not interested in seeing videos like this, then I won't do another one. But if you do want to see more of Ryland, he posts every single day on Instagram. Every single day. He's done that for about, well, since he set his Instagram account up at the beginning of the year, he's posted every single day on Instagram, different video every single day. So if you haven't already and you want to see more of Ryland performing outside of the review show, he posts a video up every single day on Instagram. So go check that out. And thank you so much for watching this video. As you can tell, I'm super proud of my son. You want to see more videos like this, like the video, subscribe to the channel. It's another video tomorrow. I'm going to do a little bit of a different video again tomorrow. But thanks very much for watching. My name's Craig from Magic TV.